Hi, I'm Larry Wilson, and I've been talking to people about personal safety as opposed to safety engineering for 25 years. Now, when I started out, I wasn't very old, and as you can imagine, I didn't know very much. So I used to ask people lots of questions instead of just telling them what to do or giving them advice that they probably wouldn't take anyway, because for some of them, their kids were the same age as me. But one of the questions I asked was, what's the most dangerous thing you've ever done? Which was quickly followed up with, and what's the worst injury you've ever had? And what really surprised me back then was that most of the time, their worst injuries didn't come from the most dangerous things they had ever done, which was kind of the party line at the time, but rather, their worst injuries came from the things that they no longer perceived to be dangerous, that they had done many, many times. So, after talking to about 20,000 people over the next 10 years or so, I began to notice a pattern that was consistent with almost every accidental or unintentional injury that had happened to every one of these people, including me. And the pattern wasn't very complicated either. These four states, rushing, frustration, fatigue, and complacency, had caused or contributed to one or more of these four critical errors. Eyes not on task, mind not on task, moving into or being in the line of fire, or somehow losing your balance, traction, or grip. And because all of us have to deal with rushing, frustration, fatigue, or complacency on pretty much a daily basis, SafeStart isn't about the bizarre injuries that you see on TV or you read about in the newspapers. SafeStart is about the injuries that have happened to almost every one of us, like standing up and banging your head on something, cutting yourself with a knife or razor, slipping or falling in the bathroom or shower, punching or kicking an inanimate object, slamming a hand or finger in a car door, blowing right through a stop sign or a red light that you honestly didn't see, burning your hand, wrenching your back or straining your shoulder, falling into something or onto something hard or sharp, falling down the stairs, or falling asleep at the wheel. Most of the time, the injuries from these critical errors aren't serious, but sometimes if there's enough hazardous energy around, they are. So, as you're watching the following stories and reenactments, which, by the way, are all true, grab your SafeStart card and see if you can pick out the states and the critical errors that contributed to these injuries.
Hi, I'm Laurie Fox, and I just want to tell you about a few accidents that I've had lately. I was at work, and I was rushing to finish a project, and they needed something faxed right away before 5 o'clock. So I dashed to the file cabinet and reach in, and I dig through, grab my stuff, and I turn and drop it on the floor. And when I did that, I bent down to pick it up, and without looking, smashed my head into the file cabinet, which I left open, and almost knocked myself out. It hurt so bad. My bump of my head's throbbing, and I'm literally nauseous. Then 4 days later, I'm at home, and it's laundry day and clean up the house day, which I don't particularly like to do, but I'm rushing to try and get it done and go down my list, and I go into the bathroom to get the laundry, and I think, oh, I need to, get some toilet paper out. And so I reach up into the cabinet and get that out and put it in my basket. I lift up with the laundry basket and smash my head into the cabinet door, doing exactly the same thing on my head, hurting myself again. In both instances, it could have been so much worse. If I would have hit the corner of the file cabinet or the corner of that door, I could have ended up with stitches. I could have had stitches, I could have blood everywhere, I could have had a concussion and ended up in the emergency room with both instances of hitting my head like that. As it was, I was lucky that I got out of there with just a couple of bumps on my head.